Alright. Next thing is Beyonder Crystal. Thank you for visiting on such a short notice, reader. I understand that you have important matters to attend to. So let me be blunt. Please listen for a moment then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end, all of it, and I sense the bonds that form the rites becoming weak. Which means soon that you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still, my services will not be of any further use. I would love for you all to tell me this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some of my beyonders, it shall be released. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those which have bound me. They shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. That's depressing. She hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask that you take me there, wherever it shall be. But I mean, take this stone prison of mine and keep it. Do not just leave it, as all your predecessors have, each time they stay among the Nightwings and their stay among the Nightwings reached an end. Soon the Beyonder Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I would prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company to the eternity of solitude. You're right, that is not much of a compliment, but I think it'd be more insulting if it was the other way around. So I'll take that. I have no wish to see you gain in years and to eventually decay, whilst I remain unchanging, which is dead. But I should rather have more years whilst having contact. Even though those years are to be brief, they shall afford me many more, which I might think upon our times. It's been real, Sandra. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware that I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit. For your own sake, may all this rice business enrich your coming days somehow. And considering that life after this night, if you think that there may be a place for it in it for me, however small, then once again I simply ask that you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again sometime, you could, and I would like to have that as an option more than not. My request here is a selfish one. For perhaps there's little I can offer in exchange, other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep once in a while. Who knows? You could always try to sell the Beyonder Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then, you have heard my sad little proposition. What do you say? Agree and do it? Decline with all respect. Why not? Sandra has proved to be a kindred spirit. You would rather not part ways with her. Beyonder Crystal is not your property, nor is it Sandra's pittance to your responsibility. I said we take the crystal. What do you guys think? Alright, my man. How about you, Dio? Would you like us to swipe the crystal? Alright. Yoink! Grab the Beyonder Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound, as though surprised. Thank you, reader. She is at a loss for a moment. Then, let us go, then, from this place. Go and face your last remaining adversaries. May you crush them under heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. Yeah, even if we don't, at least we'll never be alone. She disappears into the stone for now. You took the Beyonder Crystal with you. Keep it with you. Alright, it's a little lonelier in here. Alright, let's get this Alright, one last read, Falcon Ron. Hey guys. I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. It just hasn't been the same, you know, with all the stars fading out and stuff. Anyways, I just wanted to say you guys are great, and I'm sure going to miss having you guys as my customers and all that. But I got some good news though. All my stuff is all on sale now, and I will throw a little extra in there just for you, okay? So, enjoy, and maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay? Henceforth, all of Falcon Ron's goods are 5% off. Great. That's one hell of a sale. We didn't buy enough stuff. We didn't have any money. Oh, we could have almost afforded some of this stuff. Well, we're still broke though. Only 5%. Ugh, just the way it goes sometimes, eh, Dad? Alright, let's get to it. You have gained the summit of Mount Adelo for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final Liberation Rite. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far. Oh, hey, can we get a win? Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I'm grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well, this night and always. Go forth with glory. He then looks up and extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. Tizio has joined you. All of your companions are there with him, in fact. Cree. Tizio wants to know he has the utmost faith in you. Oh, hi, miss. The others said that they wanted me to join them and come talk to you, so here I am. The Scribes are watching us. Master Reader, it has been this night's greatest honor to have served with you. Let this be our most glorious stand yet. Reading one, thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. Nerg. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, Reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now. Let us achieve our plan. You look upon your fellow exiles, your companions with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs, and after this night, the outcome of Wilfred's plan of which you all have been a part, shall be decided, one way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversaries, so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as last remaining stars ignite. Final Liberation Rite of this age shall now commence. We have to keep going until we are free. Alright, time for some epic music. No Titan stars, no to you again. It is the right time, Dio. Alright, quick stretch.
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time. For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve.
Here you too, buddy.
The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last Liberation Rite. You face none other than yourselves, each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
It's for you too, buddy. Let's see, and I must be free, and in his head is the key, my key. Am I going to miss the announcer? Absolutely not. You must fight for your right. To party? Oh, sure. The pyre is burned, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as per the custom, not another word. Orlek, we meet again. The demon Orlek slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom was once stolen from me, then I was cheated of it, here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. He stands there for a moment, silent. Then, Orlek dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damn rites cease forever and the misery which they caused. Pyre, pyre, burning bright through the forest of the night. Action code plus 40? Oh boy. Nightwings, we shall not meet We shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus, I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one whom you anoint, or else the exile Orlek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the stars remain like rose them. Your decision, please. It is now time to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside to the end of your days. One by one, you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Bertrude, Sir Gilman, Volfred, Mbay, Tizio, your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now on the downside, and the rites conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Are you prepared to choose this one last time? Yes, for there's no turning back. No, the pressure's too great. I mean, we come this far, we might as well keep going. Well, how do you feel, chat? The fate of your friends in the Commonwealth may hinge on the decision you're about to make. It seems both cruel and unfair to make such a decision. Is there no other way? From the downside, no turning back. Would anyone else like to vote? Give you another second. Bridges crossed, so stand and watch it burn. I like that. Okay, let's do it. No turning back. Well, with but a glance, you reassure your fellow exiles that you know what to do. Preparation.
One final opportunity.
Who would go free?
Too bad.
Okay, so we only have 3 choices. Should Bay go free? Sir Gilman or Bertrude? Which one do you guys want to go free? I shall give you a moment to decide. I can't decide. Bay. Okay. Alright, Bay it is. I think if anybody else was voting, they would have done so by now. Unless Magna is typing up something epic. So I'm going to go ahead and anoint Bay. Let's see.
Bay.
Me, I can finally go home? Not yet, I mean, I know I can't go yet, but if the Scribes lie, maybe soon? This final time? Choices cast. Ask your other companions. You sense the clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Bay as well as you.
Who shall be
Sir
at the
Gilman, of
side?
course. Okay, let's see. Which one was the good stuff? You gotta remember the dope.
Sir
Give us a fighting
Gilman.
chance at least. Let's see who we have. We can take Bertrude. Let's see. We got the 2-2. Oh, Talisman is his highest rank. No! Okay, so we can't do anything more with that. Take some dope with me. Scalpers are already charging $90 from the Mario Trio. Is it sold out? The game? He's on Pyre. Take some dope with you. Looks like I forgot to dope Bay. So we're just gonna have to go. It's not even officially released. It's kind of like, I don't know if you saw the whole fiasco with the, well, I think we talked about it in our Discord, the Analog Pocket, where it was just pre-orders, but the pre-orders sold out in like minutes, and you already had them on eBay for like double the price. Thy will is ours, reading one. Let the remaining stars shed their last light upon our ceremony here. Alright. Those are to my adversaries then. And who is, I wonder, who asserts her will over that group? You sense Orlek searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you, who will relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them. Strange. It's fitting then that I should have to face one such as you. Then Orlek stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. By the light of dawn, the cycle of the Rite shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. He's using the Force to contact you. Sky above begins to shudder. The final Liberation Rite is about to commence. Tariq. I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let's make sure of it. Alright, it's going to be tough. I don't know if I can win this one, but I shall try.
Begin.
Oh boy. Ooh, this guy.
Final chance at liberation for the
Wow, this guy is strong. Wow. Wow, these guys are strong. Wow. This one might not go too well. Wow, I'm completely dominated. Alright. Wow. Wow, these guys are... Wow, this is definitely a final fight. The skies rain ash, soon your Pyre shall mingle with them. Just in the skies above began to rain down fire. Final throes of the cycle of the Rite and the ending of the age. Wow, that was a dirty cheating move. Ah, man, wow. Wow, I feel like I can't do anything against these guys. Wow. We haven't even scored once. Wow. Wow. Yeah, definitely looking bad. Wow. Come on. Yeah. Alright, well, at least we got a score. All of you, you shall rot here. You shall rot as I have. All these many years, you false Nightwings, who would deny me, who would deny me my rightful liberty. You dare deny that liberty to all the triumphants you face and vanquish under the guise of traditions of those blasted scribes. Come, let us continue with this glorious affair.
How he has changed, that Orlek. Grown old and bitter, lo, these many years.
Ah.
Somebody get
Oh wow, this guy is super fast. Wow, I feel like I can't do anything against these guys.
Virtue banished.
Yeah.
All of the Nightwings banished.
Well. Come on. Wow. How dare you score against me? This is also what happens when you get rid of your best players.
Alas for me. As per the sacred law.
Ah.
Got out. Empire shan't survive much more of that. The Worm Knight somehow did it.
Yeah. Oh.
Someone grasped the orb.
Oh boy. Wow. Wow. Oh man. Wow. Nope. Ah, boy. Ah, I can do. Wow. Oh boy. Oh, hey, I tried. That was not intentional. The applies flames now, threatening to die at any moment. Whirling makes sounds like laughter, but says nothing as he prepares one last assault against your side. Ah, I cannot get out of the way of that one. Ah. Ah, couldn't do anything about that one. I tried. Ah, these guys are just too tough.
Rejected! The Nightwings proved their worst. The Nightwings proved their utter lack thereof.
Had to be the final battle.
Thus ends the Liberation Rite. And thus, the Scribes have chosen...
This must be what the Scribes desire, so then it is what I also want to, I think. Again, that's also what happens when you send your best players back. Or like appears his head bowed for someone who's triumphed, you sense no pride in him. You posed a reasonable threat. Now farewell. It's alright. Like I said, the game continues whether we win or lose. You look upon Orlek, for which you expect shall be the last time. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf him. And also, this is the last one, so we don't know if any story shenanigans are going to happen. Any moment now, he shall regain his freedom and return unto a Commonwealth he has not seen in half a lifetime. Any moment now, the cycle of the Rite shall end. At least into the dawn of a new age. Any moment now. All right, it's taking a couple minutes.
And thus the Scribes have chosen. And thus the Scribes have chosen. And thus the Scribes.
As I thought, shenanigans.
No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
What has happened indeed? Oh boy, he's going to be mad now. Twice denied his freedom. Nothing happened. Soon Orlek tenses up. Each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened, allowing the Liberation Rite and taking in whichever exile prevailed. But now all is still. The light of the stars above have all but died. He senses a growing fear that it's already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlek laughs to himself. The 8 Scribes have saved their greatest treachery for last. Time to form the Spirit Bomb. Since something else catches his notice. Wait. Sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. Shimmer Pool has appeared again. Different, somehow, but open. If you guys remember, it was like golden light and not blood red. So I'm a little worried. Orlek looks upon it, but it does not engulf him, or at least not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. They Scribes, this is not their greatest treachery, it is their greatest jest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems all are worthy now of freedom. Just then Bay approaches. By the Scribes, so you mean then we can all go home? Bay moves closer to the Shimmer Pool. I don't trust it, it's blood red. Halt, Bay. It is a warning. Bay recognizes it is such and heeds it. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely perish in the current. Of that I can assure you. Orlek shakes his head. Then I am cheated once again. No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed, and one of you may still returned as planned. But Orlek, as the victor of the Liberation Rite that ends in the age, the choice of who to return is no longer decided, but is yours. Having to choose from those anointed, ere the last Scribes of the stars extinguish, and the Rite shall all to an end. This is the final trial of the Scribes. The final trial of the Scribes? All that then remains is for me to choose myself. Is that what you're saying? If that is to be your choice, then yes. How is this even a choice? What reason would I have to? Orlek, make your decision quickly, lest it be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. Why do I hesitate? To have come this far. To have regained what ought have already been mine all those years ago. Why now? Why would I hesitate to claim my right? The final trial of the Scribes. Orlek is lost in thought. Let's see, we can let him walk out. You're loath to tamper with the thoughts of one in the midst of a crucial decision. Reach out to him. Perhaps you can help Orlek work through the troubles weighing him down. Manipulate him. The mind preoccupied becomes highly susceptible to an unconscious influence. So you want to reach out to him? How about you, Dio? Are you voting? Give you a second. Circle is not an option, Magna. I mean, again, circle is not an option. I shall give you another moment to decide. Okay, I'm going to assume that Dio stepped away, so let's reach out to him. As Orlek struggles with the implications of the choice he has to make, you reach out to him, maintaining calm. Soon he becomes aware. You, shadow of the false Nightwings, I sense you are lurking the edges of my thoughts. Begone, you venture to a place more desolate than the one to which you have been exiled. but you remain with him. I think your thoughts are known to him as well. You, all this time, you stood by them, clinging all the while to your faith that you yourself could be free someday. How foolish. And yet, Volfred, the remorse he expressed to me then, was it genuine? This plan of yours, back when we stood together in the rites, it was our plan. Then Orlek seems to pull back from you and returns to his senses. My choice is made. Then please declare it. He turns to you. You there, shadow of the false Nightwings. I would have you be gone from here, back to the Commonwealth. Go, return, and realize that plan. The Gate Guardian studying him, betraying no emotion. The freedom I have is dissolved. My desire for it is unlikely to be sated in the Commonwealth, which casts all of us here. The Gate Guardian turns to you as well. Reader of the Nightwings, quickly, please, do you accept the burden of the outcome of this choice? You look towards Bay, who regards you with such warmth that no further exchange is needed. Your choice, reader. So what do you want to do? Ask that Orlek go free instead. He earned this rightfully and not just once. You cannot take something from this from him. Ask Bay to be free. He will tend to prevail on her behalf. Perhaps there is still a chance. Humbly accept. What's your chance to be finally free after all you've been through? Alright, so chat, we've got another decision. Who's going to go free? Aura. So you want Orlek to go free? Shall anybody else be voting? Run away? That's not an option. Okay, deal. So, tough question. Get out of there? Okay, so we have one for Orlek, one for ourselves. So, Dio, are you going to be the tiebreaker? Okay, so we have two for humbly accept. What is being offered is far too precious of a thing to be declined. You accept. You have chosen to be free yourself. The choice is made, then it is done. Faye looks to you this one last time, her heart filled with unspoken understanding. You then turn to Orlek for an instant, but another instance later, is gone, and he and everyone, all you feel is the coldness of the rush of water coursing all around you. Orlek gave his freedom so that you may yet have yours. May you return in glory.
Godspeed.
Okay, so it looks like we're going back.
By the Scribes. No stars remain.
Well, that's depressing and heartening.
The cycle of the rites. It is
Okay, so we saw this to the end.
the Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings.
So no game over possibly?
The opportunity to gain your freedom from
I
the
have no
downside.
idea.
Was it not enough?
I think this game has multiple endings, so I think you're meant to replay it multiple times over. Lose the match, win your freedom. So I guess you would have gotten the choice either way, maybe, perhaps. Even when you lose, you win. That night, an exiled reader returned to the Commonwealth. She was to be the last. The stars had faded, and the cycle of the rites had run its course. Well, I guess now I'm kind of glad I sent the original three back. I can see them again. She found the Commonwealth in a state of unrest. Spurred by the efforts of 4 liberated exiles, Volfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky pretend to the return of the Scribes. The rulers of the Commonwealth pushed back. The fighting broke out in the streets in spite of Sandalwood's intentions. It was then that the winged highway remnants chose to strike. Allegations that the highway remnants were in league with Sandalwood were never proven. However, there was no denying the result of the two-pronged attack. After enduring almost for a millennium, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Syrian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed to never cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree of forbidding literacy. Today we still remember all of this, and we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Okay. True freedom. After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the Tennessee for liberated exiles. It was everything he'd have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given into his better judgment, and he did end up signing with Wilfred Sandler's Revolutionary Forces, as he promised. On the night of Scribes' return, Greentail kept busy barking orders to Wilfred's agents as the situation grew tenser. He took rather well to leadership. When dawn finally came, it became clear that the Commonwealth, that everybody knew it no more. He realized that new opportunities awaited. He began a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was well off, as he always said. One of his orders was to seek out his old companions, Pamitha Thewin, to whom he took a liking during the quest for freedom. They bonded over a lover drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. Greentail always did keep his best to keep in touch with all his many friends and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words, sometimes. Okay, I gotta read all these. After regaining her freedom, Pamitha Thewin found herself in a difficult position. And when having once betrayed the people of the Highwing Remnant, she knew that she would not be welcomed in her native home. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Wilfred Sandler's agents, who were busy doing their part to fulfill the plan. Good luck indeed, thank you, Dio. The plan took certain unexpected turns, but in the end, resulted in the outcome Sandalwood had envisioned. It was fortunate that the Highwing remnants arrived when they did on the night of the Scribes' return. However, Pamitha denied any involvement or foreknowledge of this. Afterward, Pamitha played an active part in negotiating terms between the Highway remnants and the new nation that would become the Arsarian Union. Her previous attempt at something of the sort led her to exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time around. Sometime later, Pamitha had an unexpected run-in with Rookie Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time while traveling with the Nightwings. Under these new set of circumstances, it turns out the two had more to talk about and rather more in common. They would often put to test who was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Pamitha received an invitation to return to Highwing Remnants, where she was to be fully pardoned. That was where she ran into her blood sister, Tamitha, for the first time since their exile. The reunion was not as amicable as Pamitha might have hoped, and Tamitha, still resentful of their history together, turned violent. Oh boy. Pamitha would later brush aside the incident, though as always had an injury to show for it. Yet from that point on, the blood sisters were back on speaking terms. At least for the most part. Later, when Pamitha admitted that she felt as though she had no home to call her own, this was during an interview conducted and amid an extensive trip abroad, where she had traveled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Saharian Union. Pamitha continued the journey thus, citing that a reminder of her when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Okay. Let's see how Jody is doing. The first one to go free. After her liberation, Jodario soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saharian Union. Her military prowess and experience led to key victories and clashes against the Commonwealth loyalists. Each time she was able to subdue the opposition, avoiding lethal force. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodario's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn through all of his experience. They supported each other through the struggles many, many times. She often had to stop herself from fearing for Bay, which she tried to look after as much as possible on the downside. Soon she would reassure herself that Bay was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact she was not mistaken. She continued training on her own, with a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and sometimes she obliged. There remained one constant in her life. She'd always remember the days among the Nightwings with fondness for the most part. Oh, that wasn't too long. Let's see what Hedwyn's up to. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth, and was vital to the outcome of the plan. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold where Archjustice Androbes the ninth was holed up when the fighting grew fierce. With him and thereafter one of the winged harps of the highway remnants, later identified as Fianki Shang. Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as leader in the Saharan Union, Hedwyn often confided in his friend Jodario. Despite their intense manner, there was no one with whom he trusted in more times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back to the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished the friendships he made, he pledged to Jodario, Rookie Greentail, and the reader of the Nightwings that they might be free again together. Which is true. His promise had come to pass, although he knew that this was not his own doing. He was always deeply grateful to the other three, his closest friends. While the others stood with the Nightwings, were not able to remain in contact thus, Hedwyn thought of each of them, and so, in turn, they did think oft of him. Let's see, who else was freed? As soon as possible after Timothy Thayan earned back her liberty, she rejoined her sisters as the highway remnants in the mountains north of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth believed that someone such as she could be really rehabilitated for years spent in exile. Instead, her hatred for her ancient enemies only intensified. On the night of the Scribes' return, Scribe returns, the highway remnants were posed to strike the Commonwealth in a decisive blow. They have received credible intelligence about the expected positions of the Commonwealth leadership and the specific weakness of the blood border defenses anticipated that night. After a surgical procedure, Tamitha could fly again, almost as well as prior to her exile. She insisted on spearheading the attack with a squadron of the Harp's finest. They descended on their foes exactly as planned. The chaos had risen in the streets of the Commonwealth that night, made for an optimal diversion. Nonetheless, the battle took its toll. Many of Tamitha's sisters fell. She herself sustained many grievous wounds, but ignored them all and fought with a terrible fury. By the dawn, leaders of the Commonwealth had been eliminated, and Tamitha was limping back toward the mountains. She would never fly again. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha attended a debriefing in which her blood sister Pamitha was also in attendance. Tamitha was very skeptical that Pamitha could have played a beneficial role in the preceding events, and lashed out at her. Pamitha made no attempt to elude the attack and was struck full on. This cost Pamitha the use of her right wing. Yet, after she recovered, she shrugged the incident aside and said maybe they would call it even now. From that point on, the Blood Sisters kept a formal distance, but were cordial with each other. After the rise of the Saharan Union, Tamitha Thaywin continued to serve as flight tactician and remained respected, and feared, even among her kind. However, without a word away, she grew more distant, even than usual. Thus, closest to her surmise, her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this. Though for her part, Tamitha never admitted to any such weakness. Let's see. After the cycle of the rite ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exile of the Nightwings who remained in the downside continued to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of the Rites or the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for thus he was obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather, that the visions that it granted them were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. Bog dwellers of the southern bogs still offer other explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object, the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than that it may have meant they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remains unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claimed to have seen this apparition all spoke of her degree of reverence or perhaps a little fear. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly, Sandra has appeared before you, as you can well see. They're so far off the mark with this nonsense, I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She is referring to the account of her. He says she does not care for it. Someone has opinions. Well then, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing when they are next at it, though they shall never know even half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. Reassure her. The account was relatively flattering despite a lack of detail. It could have been worse. Humor her. Perhaps making some light of the situation will make Sandra feel better, or remain silent. So do you want to reassure her, humor her, or remain silent? As we get through all this reading, humor her. Okay. You indicate to Sandra that the real truth of what happened... Oops. Click too soon. Sorry. Alright, Goblin. If there's another decision to be made, you'll get it. You indicate to Sandra that the real truth of what happened between you would perhaps make too lavacious of a tale to be told in such a format. You make some amused sound at this. Perhaps that story ought to get out then. To think that it would go through all the trouble to make literacy adopted once again, only to print such drivel. Anyway, let us keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it. Is what matters. Phase into the Beyond the Crystal for now, and you tuck it away safe. Do we seriously have to read all these? Is there no way to skip this? Oh boy. Alright, we're going to be at this for a while. We'll just finish off with the Nightwings then. Once the Rites ended, the MTZO had a job to do. Quite unlike most exiles trapped forever in the downside. Lone Minstrel asked that he watch over the Black Wagon, which the Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter throughout their quest. TZO obliged, for he knew that wagon as well as the drive inhabitants perhaps better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified as evidence of TZO's thorough work. After that, he liked to while away his days away with any of his friends or fellow imps. Jeez. He would visit his friend Bay at every opportunity. She was among the few who could consistently interpret what he meant, and they were always close since they first met. Sandra would sometimes call for his assistance, and TZO was happy to oblige. The two of them would often reminisce about their times with the Lone Minstrel. TZO often missed his interactions with the reader of the Nightwings. They had quickly built quite a rapport back in the downside. Indeed, TZO would often express wishful gratitude for all of his time in the Nightwings and their many adventures throughout the land, that was always his home. Other than that, TZO would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps relaying news to and from the Saharan Union. Despite having significant celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head, and he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace at every single chance he got. So, let me see, we have about another dozen people or so. Should I keep reading all of these, or should I just let the text go? Because we're going to be here for a while, and we haven't even seen the credits roll. So do you guys have any preferences, or keep reading? They're really making the reader read. So you guys want to continue silently, or should I keep stumbling through all this text? Because there's a lot of people back there. But I'll give you guys a moment to decide. Alright. Well, I did say I'd give you the next decision, Goblin. The Worm Knight Sir Gilman had elected to go into exile as penance for his failure to uphold his military obligations to the Commonwealth. To him, earning back his freedom was tantamount to erasing the shames of his past. His honor was at stake, more so than anything. Yet when it came clear to him that he would not go free again through the rites, he readily accepted the outcome, for he knew by then that much more was on the line. He regretted not having a chance to contribute directly to the events that transpired in the Commonwealth, though he was pleased to hear the outcome. The conclusion of the rites and the fall of the Commonwealth had made clear to him that his days as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstance, again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, and though never found as skilled and motivating of his partner as his fleet-footed friend Rookie Greentail, whom he remembered fondly. From time to time, he would seek guidance from one of his former comrades, Big Bertrude, much his elder, and a wellspring of perspective on his life decisions. He wasted no time dwelling his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. The other Worm Knights stayed well clear of him. Gilman never did return to his homeland in the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on the small residence in the hills. It was just high enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, An intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that his honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. Okay. Alright, Best Bay, you're up. Long after the rites had ended, Bay admitted she knew, well before the fact, that she would not be going home again. At least she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed. She took to the wandering run from celestial landmark to the next, even paying homage to the 8 scribes who she believed had influenced all that transpired. Of course you're not paying attention to all of this. You're probably playing Smash or reading another stream or something. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was happy to have company. Among her friends, she remained close with Tizio, who more so than anyone could always make her laugh. Though they could not see each other any longer, Bay often thought about Jodario and spoke to her as though she were there. Bay never tried to make any decision without first consulting her idea of Miss Jodario might say. One day she encountered one of her former adversaries called Almer Oldhard, who had served the Faith. She remembered him much more than he did her, though this was only just at first. Their shared experience in the rites and their different points of view about the scribes formed the basis of what grew to be a long-lasting relationship. Bay was always devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life in the downside, both with courage and grace. Alright, Big Bird, you're up. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than return home from the downside. The crone called Big Birchie was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as the Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps even the monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. He had made it clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal only led to a deeper understanding between them. By and large, Virtue kept focus on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there's a real need for simple luxuries, which in the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Birch continue living up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more the living legend. Done. Sandalwood. When the rites of the cycle ceased turning, Volfred Sandalwood turned towards the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all he could do at that stage of the plan. He aspired to assemble with liberated exiles representing each of the largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace the older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. Alright, deal. See you when you get back. With the rites ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit, yet the plan did have contingencies. Word reached him that on the night of Scribes' return, several of his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together and their voices echoed through the streets. It was vital to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in nature, which has proved to be untenable, especially after the Highway remnants appeared. There's speculation that the well-timed assault may have happened by coincidence, though Sandalwood denied any involvement and regretted the bloodshed. Nevertheless, the main thrust of the plan had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Saharian Union. Of course, being stranded on the downside meant there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They may never return to that new nation, but at least they can experience his triumphs and his struggles in some vicarious ways. So he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread again throughout the Saharian Union, so did the exiles take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped teach as many as he could. More than that, he provided the material to read, a semi-annual report of the events in both the Saharian Union and the downside. Though this period gave many exiles something to look forward to. One of his allies was the Tizio, with whom he traveled all the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tizio as the wellspring of his own enthusiasm for a brighter future. Such was the creature's spirit. He enjoyed exchanging letters with the leader of the Nightwings, who kept him well abreast of how the other comrades and the fledgling nation fared. It is said that at some point he made amends with his old one-time friend Orlek, with whom he clashed during their days as exiles. After that, they seldom traveled separately. As Wilfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout the land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about two things. The first was the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. That he would often praise the exiles of the Nightwings who stood with him, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Saharan Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn him until much later, it was said that he was moved to tears then by the gesture. The sense ensured that those of us with the memories of more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. Alright, let's see this guy. With the rites drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Oh, yet as sometimes is the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least to a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger and bearing news from the other side. Ron gave it to one of his remaining trinkets, which cannot be sold. Following week, the messenger returned to him bearing a title sum of wealth and a newly minted coinage from the Saharan Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from the legal standpoint in the Saharan Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. Later, he signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrude and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in Saharan Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. Alright, let's see, Tarig. After the cycle of the rice ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seize their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Adelo with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tarik nor Celeste were ever seen again. We all know this through the song attributed to them. Some claim that these songs originated in the taverns of the Saharan Union and were merely imbued with the weight of folklore. However, the exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the Liberation Rites. Another folktale suggests that these minstrels were heroes of the Scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of the famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties to the rights in favor of a life they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs. For it was they who watched over the rights and ushered in our times. Alright, short and sweet. We are almost there. After the shimmer pool closed for what would be the last time, Orlok looked around him in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre. He then turned toward the fall of Solium, looked up toward the black, starless sky. After standing thus for some time, he averted his gaze and walked away without a word. Orlok had relinquished his freedom of his own free will. Perhaps in realizing this, he saw no reason to remain there on the sacred mountain. For many moons, he wandered the downside alone. Eventually, however, he would reunite with the exiles he stood with as the true Nightwings, for they each cared for him. The one he had called the Shadows of the False Nightwing was someone whom he thought about at times. He wondered if this reader had an influence over the Commonwealth's fall. News must have reached him eventually about the outcome of Wilfred Sandalwood's plan. One day he appeared before his former companion. While they kept the private details of the conversation that took place, it must have been enough to rebuild the bonds of friendship between the two of them. They were often seen together after that. Orlok later reunited with Tizio, who joined his travels. It was much like olden times in that regard, and the imp always enjoyed his company. Still, in the Saharan Union, no one remembered the former chief physician who had fallen into exile decades prior. No one knew how close he came to altering the outcome of the final Liberation Rites, and thus perhaps to altering the course of history. You still reading? Oh, yeah. Stop it and go to bed? I've got a few hours. In fact, once I'm done reading here, I've got to go get something to eat and make dinner, so I'll be up for a while. I mean, after all, there's only one viewer left, so there's no one, we have a couple viewers left, but, you know, we're almost there. Today, however, this is not the case. Accounts from the other exiles of the downside have ensured that Orlic's place in the events that shaped our world are known and shall be known. That one viewer is trash. Trash. Oh, I don't know. Alright, we've got quite a few to go. Hopefully these guys will be shorter. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew it was time for him and the Temperance to call it quits. But first he and the Temperance decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and he took on many lovers in his time. Well, at least he got laid. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curly Horns and what became of her. Those glory days were his most powerful conductor of rites had long since passed. He always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time. Alright, that was short and sweet. When Manly Tenderstuff realized the rites had ended and they no longer could return to the Commonwealth through his ancient means, he was outraged. He wished to speak to your manager. He cursed the Scribes, spewing forth such blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of the one of his high status and bearing. At last he calmed himself. He focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger imp, and used their vast resources to explore the other means of escape. He tried using the elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with the superior propulsion. He tried an imp raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tenderstuff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was the shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of the Black Basin to Cinder Root. There he wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Done. Alright, let's see what the good bad boy has done. Up, still rowdy as ever. Barker Ashpaw has never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found his bylaws to be so stifling, so when the rites ended he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates addicted to this proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Jomar Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started taking interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaw some healthy competition. Zolfi or Riki Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, had found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. Done. Alright, the coward worm. After all his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen as their last chance to return to their homes vanished, along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for the outcome meant that at last there was no burden of responsibility weighing him down. Having heard that Sir Gilman and House remained behind, Deluge made a point of avoiding him at all costs. Nonetheless, they ran into each other once, riding a cold current in the Sea of Solace. The meeting was tense and cordial. Deluge ended up apologizing profusely for mistreating his fellow Worm Knight, and that was the end of it. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre Hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward the conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of the Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Alright, so it looks like someone else got laid. Let's see, what's she up to after she escaped? After her liberation, Witch Umalid fled to her native home in the Southern Bulge, rejecting all festivities and honors she would have received. They're still making you read all of this? Yep, I am still reading. She was never seen again during the events that transpired in and around the Commonwealth. Some of those with knowledge of the rites and the legends of the downside suggest that she willingly cast herself back into exile to be closer to Lash'lash. Other rumors suggest that her obsession with pyromancy and the dark arts ultimately consumed her. If she lives, for her kind are able to live for many centuries, there is no telling where. Her repeated threats of the return of Lash'lash were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Alright. You angst boy. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance at freedom from the downside forever slipped from Adalbert and Almer Ohart's grasp. Reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental. Thus they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Jomer Valley. There they struggled to get by as exiles as the downside tend to do. Sometime after the rites had ended, the Oharts at last heard the news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This is well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down along with his son. Old Dalbert passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. Oh, rest in peace, goodest old boy. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the Scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the Scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes. So after a period of mourning, Almer began a new journey. One day during his travels, he ran almost headlong into another exile after paying homage at the Spring of Jomer. He was stunned to find that this was none other than what he knew as Bay from the days as adversaries and the rites. Bay was overjoyed to see him, though Almer was unable to bring himself to understand why. Eventually, of course, he did, and they remained together, growing ever more accustomed to their new lives on the downside. Not a day went by that Almer Oldhart did not think about his father and give thanks to him, and speak to him morning and night. With the stars yet shone surely for Dalbert, there'd be among them, smiling down at his son, watching over him and his kin. Done, 2 for 1. Oh shit, just one more to go. Finally! After the final Liberation Rite, Linda refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after night after consecutive nights, staring into the blackness of the sky, and awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No ever such sign came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become the top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lyndall dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted, rather forcefully, that any evening now the stars would shine for him again and mark the way toward his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in the triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lyndall the Liar was never seen again. However, there have been sightings of a bedraggled demon wanders the downside and bends Lyndall's cruel countenance, suggesting that he yet lives. Finally. I read them all. No, there's more. There is one more account which warrants a mention. Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of her. However, some accounts of her begin to paint a picture. We know that she was of common birth, always directionless, and prone to misremembering at times. The journey to the downside left her close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found her. They brought her from the brink. She showed them the path. She pressed onward with the others. A bunch more to unlock. Still reading. She did not know how far the path would lead, thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. The freedom which she indeed achieved earned the morning's light. From that point on, accounts of her diverge. It is said that the voice which troubled her, she never heard again. Some say she helped to form our Saharan Union, though whether that is true, only she knows. Someday, perhaps, that the reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce through the dark of the night, all in its brilliant glory. Such a time, and then after, all of us give thanks. Oh my god, are we finally done? Oh, I'm putting the controller down. Oh my god. So much reading. Thank you, Dio. You guys enjoy the song?
are the last of the Nightwings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed and strode.
Okay, so finally we get some cutscenes.
That his heart laid before him. He has found his way home. Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home.
Can we get some more cutscenes?
Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the Scribes.
Music sounds like something from a 70s station. It does! I am here for this though. Of course! Same time to sing everything you just read. Hey, look, it's Best Bay.
Feels the scribes in the heart of the downside. She remained to the end. Tears all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the Nightwing.
I am thinking I want to play Lost Ember. I haven't updated the Trello list, but I'm going to do Lost Ember. It's a puzzle game. It's pretty short, and I just need a break from all this reading. I am thinking that I have tomorrow off because of the holiday. So I'm thinking, should we get started on Lost Ember? Or should I just wait till next Sunday and just take the day off? If I'm thinking I'm going to stream, I'm thinking maybe I'll stream from like maybe either from 4 to 6 or 4 to 7. So what do you guys think? Should I stream tomorrow or should I just wait until Sunday? Because we need 2 more followers to hit affiliate, but I also need to make sure we make 8 hours in 7 days. Okay, so you want to stream tomorrow. You guys got it. It should be 4 o'clock. I know I'm getting the ceiling on my bathroom repaired, but that's going to happen at 1. So he should be done by... Yeah, he should be done by 4. There's no way it's going to take that long to sand and paint the ceiling. Okay, so you might be out for part of it. No worries, Dio. We could just get to 2 more followers. We'd be good. We are sitting at 48. Okay, so you want to raid? Okay, I guess I can stay on for a few minutes as soon as we're done with the credits. First of all, I've never raided anybody. I didn't think I'd be raiding anybody, so you're going to have to tell me how to raid. And you're going to have to give me your friend who I shall raid. It's like I can either figure out the raid tonight or I can do a raid tomorrow when I have a little more time. Oh, okay, Magna, do you know how to raid? Okay, so you guys want to do a raid tonight or should I wait until tomorrow afternoon? We'll do it tonight? Okay. I'm not too familiar with raids or anything, so this is all going to be new for me. Doing it live? Okay, as soon as the credits roll and we're back to the menu screen, we can do the raid. Okay, looks like we have a little post-credits cutscene. Why I had to do all that reading, I'm not sure. Why couldn't we just have some cutscenes that explain it with a fancy little song? Nah, go on, Angela, read for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. Is it time to read more? Oh, it probably is. I'm hoping that because of all this, we become the voice. All those books. So much reading to do. I think it'd be pretty awesome to have a study like that, though. Okay. Is there anything I'm supposed to interact with? The end. End. Okay, we made it to the end. True Nightwings campaign mode unlocked. Let's see, press this to return to the main menu. Okay, so finish. So I guess in case anybody wants to stay for the raid, I'm going to do the sign off, just in case. So thank you again everybody for joining me. That was Pyre. We had some good victories. We lost the final battle, but we, the reader, we were the real winners here. Alright, and my name's Angela, and I've been streaming for Damage Control Blog. You could find us at dcgameblog.com, where we write about video games, anime, other pop culture, and geek news. And you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Mastodon, and we also have a YouTube channel where we put up archives of the streams and other Let's Plays and other little fun stuff. And if you guys want to hang out with us more often, you want to keep the chat going, we also have a Discord. So you can come join us in that. And guys, just